Welcome to Black Girl Say Something, where this black girl has something to say. And I think we're going to just call this episode Educated, Further That Education, right?
Right.
So I'm here with Dr. Johnson.
Hey, how y'all doing?
And we both graduated with our doctoral degrees from NSU, Nova Southeast University. Let's go Sharks, okay? And to be quite honest with you, I'll tell you a little bit about my backstory. Me furthering my education was my way up out the hood, okay? I don't know if that's true for Dr. Johnson as well, but we're going to get into that topic, okay? So having a bachelor's degree, as somebody who has a bachelor's, right, a master's, and a doctorate, I would say a bachelor's is introductory. A bachelor's is get your feet wet in the information. I myself have all three of those degrees in the health sciences, concentrating in different things. But then a master's comes around and you're like, I've mastered this, been there, mastered that. That was actually my slogan for my master's graduation. And then when you get a doctoral degree, I find that you have solutions to problems, a variety of problems.
Right.
So what was your insight? What insight can you offer as far as furthering your education, even if it's not traditional college?
Well, definitely, when you are finding out what you want to do, it's important to see how this can be stretched out long-term wise.
Okay.
Oftentimes you hear about students saying, oh, I just want to do a psychology degree, but I don't want to be a psychologist.
Okay.
I want to do a sociology degree, but I don't know what I want to do with that long-term wise.
Okay.
So when you are at your master's degree level, well, first of all, a bachelor's degree is a high school diploma in this economy now. So if you're just working your bachelor's degree, please continue.
Yeah.
Please continue, and Dr. Appleton stresses that as well, to continue.
Yeah.
So once you get to your master's degree, at that point, you're like, okay, I got to buckle up and figure out what I want to do.
Yeah.
So at that point, I told myself, health administration is broad, health administration is long-term, health administration got the money.
Yeah.
First and foremost.
Okay. I like to also add to the fact that when I got a bachelor's degree, I thought that was going to be the end for me. But mind you, this is 2015.
Why?
A bachelor's degree in 2015, also because I had what I like to call a working degree. I had a couple of vocations.
Okay.
And so having a vocation as a phlebotomist, that's a certificate program. Also having an allied health degree, which I have my associates in science and vision care technology. As an optician, a bachelor's degree was all you needed at the time if you wanted to emerge into teaching. So when you have to be, I guess, adaptable to the change in the economy, right? There's conversations right now around higher education and black men going to college. And I think, and you could agree with me on this, maybe or maybe not, I don't think the conversation should be going to college. I think we could change the language as far as what we consider to be higher education.
Right. Black men go to college. Black men go to college. One more time. Black men go to college.
That's from a black man. So
that discourse of, oh, black men not going to college, that's wild.
Yeah.
That is wild.
And I think it's because we're seeing a decline in black men at HBCUs.
That too.
As somebody who worked at an HBCU, I did find that there was maybe, if I had a class of 30, there would be 3 black men, and 2 of them are playing sports, and one might be saying, hey, I don't play any sports, I'm just a good student.
Right.
But also I think about skills, furthering your skill set. When we're talking about going to college, I'm pro trade school. I'm pro using your hands. I'm very pro learning a skill. So for example, as an optician, I would find it funny that people, the industry changed over time. When I first started opticianry, nobody was buying glasses online. That was forbidden, actually, according to our license. And over time, the rules change. So when I think about people needing, to get a pupil measurement to be able to order glasses online, I would charge them for that measurement because that's a skill that I had to learn. That wasn't something free. I paid the school to learn that skill.
You learned from YouTube.
I didn't learn it from YouTube.
She did not learn it from YouTube.
And being in the industry this long, that's a skill I had to learn. So I think about your plumbers. I think about, electrician. I think about also exposure, because I'm also raising what will soon be a black man in America and
That
society.
will be going to college.
That
Finish
will be
that
going
sentence.
to college.
You're raising a black man
Who
that
will be going to college.
Right.
And always getting that exposure.
Right.
Exposure could be as simple as a conversation. Anywhere we go, I say, hey, do you see yourself doing this? We went to take the dog to the veterinarian.
I remember. Mm-hmm.
And I said to him, I was like, would you want to do this?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, yeah. But also, too, he's like, yeah, I want to do that. But he's also really good at math and science. So I'm like, you want to be a chemical engineer?
Right.
Because I know they have solutions for things.
Right.
And it's really about exposure. So how did you find yourself getting exposure into the health administration route?
So my family, we have nurses, we have doctors.
Okay.
Once I got into undergrad, sat with the advisors, the trigonometry and ometry, I didn't want to do all them ometries, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
I still wanted to be in the healthcare field. I still wanted to make money.
Okay.
Health administration, after research, I stumbled upon it. Oh, I could be a hospital CEO. Oh, I'm going to be the CEO of the doctor.
Okay.
And that's how I landed in health administration, and I just stuck it all the way through.
Okay. That's what's up. So were there any advisors that were pivotal in you making that decision?
I was my own advisor.
Okay.
And
So you had to have some tenacity.
Right. Sometimes these college advisors, they'll steer you in the wrong direction.
Yes.
Okay.
See, that wasn't my experience. So I'm like very pro advisor.
Okay.
If they're not listening to you. Now, if they're not listening to you, that's one thing. Because for me, when I started college, I was on pre-med track.
Okay.
But I also was going to community college. I also was paying on my own. I also was going through a lot of different things, unhoused.
Getting it out the mud.
I was getting it out. I was getting it out the mud,
Right,
okay?
right.
And I'll say this, a black girl say something mantra is, my kid's not going to have to get it out the mud. They're going to get it out the garden because their mama planted the seeds.
Right.
Okay. That's a black girl say something mantra.
Right.
But I found that I was on pre-med track, and then I changed to pre-optometry track because my pre-med track I was looking forward to doing ophthalmology. And it was taking a little longer than necessary. And so I was like, let me do pre-optometry so that I could just transition into optometry school, and I'll visit medical school at another time. The goal was to be a doctor either way it went. So I did do that. I'm a doctor of health science, concentrating in global health. But I found that when I went to see an advisor, and I was like, I'm struggling to pay for these classes. And she's like, well, at the time I had like an associate's degree needed 60 credits? 60 some odd credits. I was already at 50 credits.
Okay, almost there.
I was almost done.
Almost there.
But I wasn't ready to transition to a bachelor's program to go to optometry school. Because of the cost. So she recommended, she said, well, this vision care technology program, that should get you close to working with eyes. She didn't even really know what it was. And immediately, one of the very first classes I took was geometric optics, which is like a statistics course, but for glasses. So opticians are very close to being engineers, if I'm being honest with you. MX equals Y.
Okay. Close to being statisticians.
Close to being statisticians. So we had to learn SOHCAHTOA. It was very much a trigonometry class on steroids because you have to learn base curve and lenses and chromatic aberration. If you're an engineer, you know all them words mean something to you.
Right.
So the class was, and I felt at peace. And I was like, I'm going to stick this out, and I finished.
Right.
And even while being pregnant, I did the whole program pregnant, but I finished, and that was my way. That was my track.
Right.
So sometimes the advisors, they don't necessarily know the program.
True.
Again, organizational alignment is something I've learned.
Organizational alignment is important. Organizational alignment is key. And oftentimes what I've realized that oftentimes when you're not getting the right direction, do your own research and be okay with making your own decisions.
Yeah.
And like I always tell people, college is about exploring as well too.
Yeah.
Yes, you're there for getting an education and learning about yourself, but you're also there to explore about yourself and career-wise.
Career-wise, yeah.
Explore.
Change that major.
Change that major. Explore.
I went from pre-med, I took a break and then did phlebotomy. Because they wouldn't let me go to both schools at once. So I took a semester off. The phlebotomy program was one semester. I did that, and then I hopped back into pre-med, and I realized, oh, this is going to cost a lot more than I have to spend as a phlebotomist. And then I changed to pre-optometry, and then from pre-optometry I did opticianry. And while I wanted to do, I was going to go into a bachelor's in clinical vision management, I would have had to already be an optometrist to do that program.
Okay.
oh no, the clinical vision management program, I would have had to be an optometrist. So I was like, okay, I'm probably not going to do that. So that's how I ended up in the Bachelor's of Health Science.
Right.
So it was more seen as a degree supplemental because everybody who was in the program was allied health professionals. So you had your dental assistants, your physician assistants, like everybody in that program. I was probably one of the only opticians within the program.
Question: with all of your educational achievements, is there anything you would have done differently, looking back now?
Not have kids.
Damn.
So if you young and you looking to go into college, don't rush to have children.
Okay.
I mean, I wasn't in a rush to have children, but honestly, that changed the track.
Okay.
Because to go to a med school program, to go to an optometry program, you can't work. You actually need like real financial support. I didn't have that.
Wow. Okay.
So, or be born into a different family. I don't know. That's not in my control.
Okay. Okay. Wow, it's very interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the reality of it.
Okay.
Anything you would like the people, where can they find you? Tell them what you got going on.
Right. So I'm on AJ Onyx, AJ_Onyx on all platforms, TikTok, Instagram, and on YouTube. Dr. Appleton has me transferring all my content over to YouTube. So it's on the way. 2025, we're going to be content creators.
Yeah.
We're healthcare professionals. We are professors, but guess what? We are trying to chase the bag too. So content creation is where it is at. So right now I'm building a community on everything healthcare administration. Oftentimes students don't know about how can I start, where do I start, and what are some of the jobs that I could do as it relates to public health, health management, health service administration. All of those titles are used interchangeably. So I'm here to build a community on just shedding light on everything healthcare. And yes, there's money here, and yes, there's many different options in this career field overall. So check me out, AJ Onyx.
And that's amazing because when you can find a space, and I would always tell my students when I was a professor, if you want to be a nurse, follow nurses on Instagram. Like y'all be on social media all day.
Right.
If you're a nurse, follow nurses on Instagram. If you want to be a dentist, follow dentists on Instagram. You want to be a plastic surgeon, follow them on Instagram. Use your resources. And so with that being said, you would be a resource that students can go to when they look up healthcare administration tracks on YouTube, because I've found great peace in helping students know how to integrate social media into their research, whether it be YouTube, even Snapchat. I've had them given assigned homework where it's like the World Health Organization has a Snapchat, and they be Snapchatting in real time in South Sudan, telling you about what's going on. So with that being said, I look forward to, Ina, you gonna be able to edit this?
Sure.
Thank you.
One last question before we go. Back to the topic of higher education. Let's say your son turns to you one day, Mom, I don't know if I want to go to college. How are you going to address that?
He say that every other day right now, so he's still gonna go. Like he's still going to go. He's still going to experience it because we are in Florida. I'm very pro in-state tuition. I feel like the scam of it all is finding a way to say, oh, they're not from here, let's charge them more for college. So even if that means we have to move so that we can experience a particular place and be there for a year so we can get in-state tuition, as a parent, that's the journey I'm willing to make with him so that he can be successful in his educational career.
Okay, I like that.
So, I mean, all the undergrad classes, no matter what degree you choose, is the same.
It's all the same,
Yeah, you got to take the college algebra. You got to take English 1101, English 1102, intro to something, intro to this, intro to history. It's all the same. So if I could just get you to get your foot in the door to get at least those first 20 credits,
the foundation,
and we can figure out where else we want to go from there. That's the least that's the most we're going to do.
Okay, nice.
And you still would end up with some sort of associate's degree in something. In something. So that is the reality of it. But make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. Remember, there'll be some links in the description of this episode. It don't cost you nothing to interact with them. But we do have exclusive content over on Patreon. And remember, This Black Girl Has Something to Say. Black Girl Say Something is the podcast. We air an episode every Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you watch this video all the way to the end, why are you not subscribed to the YouTube yet?
Subscribe.
Thank you.